Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Colin's Punk Rock World podcast. I'm Colin, I do Colin's Punk Rock World and CPRW Records. Today I'm joined by my good friends Paul and Sarah.
Hello.
How's it going?
Okay, obviously Paul, we've met before. He does B-Sharp promotions, and Sarah is in charge of like the Shout Louder like media empire now. What we got? So I've asked them on today for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because Sarah would like to promote her new book, which me and Paul both appear in. And secondly, because this time last year we were just about finished sorting out Do It Together Festival, which was an event we put on at the New Cross Inn in January this year. Have you guys got any like fond memories of organising that?
Not organising,
I tell you what,
no.
not of the organising. Come on, it was fun. We had a chat group and everything.
Oh no, you lot were fine. It's always the bands. They're always troublesome.
That's true.
It took us about 3 months to lock down JVC, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. They took a long time to confirm, didn't they? But I was thinking, this podcast that we're doing now, where we're on Zoom, this is already much more high tech than any discussion we had last year about the festival.
Yeah, it was on WhatsApp, wasn't it?
Yeah, all on WhatsApp.
We had a spreadsheet as well.
WhatsApp and Excel, yeah.
There was. I colour coded that Excel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That, in fact, actually, one of my fonder memories was us going through, and we had a short list of bands, and then we all voted for them.
I
as
like
a
the
three,
voting,
didn't we?
Yeah.
Rather than arguing and disagreeing with each other. So we picked out the bands based on a voting colour coding system.
We did.
I think it worked. That was quite...
Those poor bands that got a resounding "No, you're all right." Who shall remain nameless?
Yeah, a strict voting system of keen, meh, and nah. I think
It's
was
they're very similar to how we do Level Up.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's 4 of us there, and like we all do a short list and then just pick it apart.
Hmm.
It worked though. I think it was quite a like genre-wise. It was quite a varied festival.
Is it-
And... Hey.
Yeah. What about you, Colin? It was your first gig, really, wasn't it?
It was interesting, like learning how what goes into it more so. I think I knew a little bit just from talking to like Paul and yourself and other promoters, but when you started coming out with all the different terminology, and I was like, "What's that mean? What's that mean?" But,
Catering budget, PRS.
I don't need to know those things. The other one, like, my fun. I remember when we like finally booked Lightyear, which started off as much me just saying, "Should we book Lightyear?" Just not really expecting that to happen. But then Paul did Paul things. I just remember getting a text message like in our group chat from Paul, sort of saying Lightyear have confirmed. And I was at work, and I just remember looking at that and doing like a football sort of celebration, just of excitement, and then being told not to tell anyone afterwards. And I was just like, "This
Not
isn't
bad for your debut booking."
No, I'm done. I'm one and done. I'm never topping it. So, but I can remember.
I don't know. We were all talking about doing another one, weren't we?
Yeah. Then the world broke.
I think one of my
It's a
favourite
sign.
things about it, which was afterwards, when I think Chaz texted me saying, "We want to refund some of our fee," because like they didn't know it's for charity. I don't like because we booked them through their agent at the time, and like agents don't care. It's like how much and when is it kind of thing. No disrespect to them, they've got a job to do. But when they turned up and saw the Mind banner and all that, Chaz was like, "You paid us too much. Let us refund some. Do what you want with it."
Yeah,
And
he was forcing us to take the money back.
They cement themselves as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Although I did wonder, I remember them because it was before they went on the last day, you know, and they're one of, for all 3 of us, they're one of our like fantasy festival bands, aren't they? They're a band we all really love, and they had to be the headliner. But yeah, before their set, they were kind of, I remember Chaz and that saying to me, "Oh God, you're paying us too much. You're paying us too much money.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop paying us this much money. It's a charity event. Please, please, please don't pay us this much money." And I remember thinking, I don't know, are we getting what we pay for as well? Because the set was incredibly shambolic. It was such a mess, which is everything I want from a Lightyear set and more.
I think it's a similar lineup in terms of personnel to the Real Big Fish tour, where there was like 3 original members tops.
I think, didn't we have more original members?
I
in the Real
think we
Big
had
Fish
more
tour?
original members in the Real Big Fish tour.
Yeah,
We still had Bob on drums. I know that.
yeah.
Because he headlined both
was
nights.
there.
Now, Pook didn't play with them. Pook, I think
Pook
Pook come and just did
Oh,
Pook
there you go.
Records. I think
Yeah,
literally
Pook
the
showed up
only
for a bit.
non-proper Lightyear member was Bob, from what I remember.
Oh, we did all right then. And as it stands, it was their final show again.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's a
as
lot
long
of
as they
bands'
don't do
final
any more
shows, to be
shows.
fair.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah,
That-
like you were going around and said to me multiple times that day, this is going to be our last ever show. This is going to be our last ever show. And I'm thinking, how many times have you said that, lads? Like,
Yeah.
I've got a T-shirt from your last ever show and then seen you 5 or 6 times since. So
I've got a ticket stub. I got 2 ticket stubs. One from whenever it was, 2006, I guess, saying last ever show, and another one saying one-off reunion show a couple of years later, and then a few more after that, and then booked me a couple of times.
Yep, classic. But they were making such a thing about it being their last show that I got sort of in my head. I was watching them play and I thought, what if we had actually booked Lightyear's last ever show? Wouldn't that be great? I mean,
That'd
not
be
great.
really
for those of us
sad.
who
I
love
want to see him
Lightyear.
again.
Yeah, it would be tragic. It looks good on our CVs.
Yeah, tragic, but great for us. As
They chose to end it with us.
Yes, we were the best. We were the best. Or we were so awful they decided never to play ever again.
Yeah, I can't be dealing with these shysters.
Well, they ended up they threw bananas into the crowd. They had like a big thing where we had to strip T-shirts off of I can never remember his bloody name, even though I do know him.
The
tech guy from fuck. What was the band? Fire Apple Red.
Yeah.
That, yes, right. I remember bands, it's fine. I haven't had a musical conversation in so long that I think I've forgotten how to be music geeky.
This is essentially why I started doing this podcast, to talk about music with people.
I said to you before we came on the call, I don't think I've spoken to anyone for 3 days, like genuinely. And it's so nice to see your little faces.
No.
Yeah.
It has been, nearly a year.
Yeah.
Well, the last time we all got together was Do It Together Fest. And it's interesting because for me, one of the reasons I wanted to, obviously I'm in Manchester, you guys are, Paul is closer to London.
I am in London.
Yeah, you're in London.
For my sins.
But, we decided to put on that event together in London, but partly for me because I wanted to see all my southern mates and get a few people around from different parts of the country. And, we had folks flying down from Scotland and stuff. But
folks flying in from Belgium.
Yeah, the mainland, didn't we?
And I don't know. I feel like I'm extra glad that we did that now because, that literally was the last time I saw most of my friends.
It's weird thinking about it. Yeah, we all had a pre-lockdown birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think we're going to get another one.
There's one for you. Obviously, we're all fortunate enough to have our birthdays around the same week at the kind of end of January, beginning of February. Did you anticipate still being in a version of lockdown for your birthday this year?
Absolutely not. I mean, for my actual birthday, I was in Amsterdam watching Menzingers and Spanish love songs.
Lucky bastard.
And went on to Budapest from there. And in Budapest was when that storm, was it Ciara, happened?
Oh, yeah.
And it took about 20 hours to get home. Had to fly to Poland to then get a flight from Warsaw to London and got back to London 8 hours later than planned. And I was like, I'm glad that's out of the way nice and early this year because how can it get any worse?
I'd forgotten that storm even happened. Wow.
Yeah, a couple of people that we were with got delayed in Budapest 24 hours and needed to get another hotel, and it was all like, well, this year can't get any worse.
Oh dear.
I'd love to be stranded at an airport right now.
How wrong we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember starting off this year. Actually, do you know what? At the beginning of this year, I was having quite a busy year anyway because I was sort of changing job and moving house and all that kind of thing. And I'd already decided that I didn't want to go to as many festivals this year and take a bit of a break. And it turns out my plan went really well.
Yeah.
I didn't go to a single festival.
Yeah, I was going the other way and just planning to hit as many as possible and then have next year to stop and sort of slow down and be a grown-up.
Yeah.
That's not happened. I think we had 8 or something on the calendar or something stupid.
Yeah, it's like when because Colin and Emma were going to come to Punk Rock Holiday for their first time, Sarah.
I know.
With me and Taj, and like when that got cancelled, we were like, at least we've got Fest still.
Oh,
Everything will be fine in November.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I'd planned on doing Booze Cruise for the first time, and then I was obviously going to do Manchester Punk Fest. But apart from that, I was planning on keeping it relatively in the UK, like do Book Your Own Fest at the end of the year. And even then, when all this happened, I just thought, oh, well, at least Book Your Own Fest will still be happening, so we can all go up for that. Because that's December. Yeah. No, none of that.
Nothing.
And now I'm getting to the stage where, because I've got booked a hotel for Punk Rock Bowling in May.
Oh, shit.
May. And now it's getting to the stage of like, probably have to cancel that hotel as well now for May 2021.
Oh.
Let's not get too down about it. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. But like for Do It Together Fest, Sarah released her first book as well, Papercuts. This is a killer segue. Be proud of me. I'm a professional. So
I'm impressed.
In recent months, she's been working on Papercuts 2, which now she wants to do the plugging for that now, nice and early before people turn off.
Yeah, for sure. I can give it a bit of a plug. I don't know. I'm trying not to be too overly promotional about it. It's more that it's a cool project, and I kind of want people to. Well, to be honest, I want people to buy it, but mostly I want people to read it and enjoy it. But if you could buy it, that would also be great. Yeah. But yeah, so I did Papercuts 1 in time for Do It Together Fest because we all kind of wanted to have a bit of a special event, and I thought it would be fun to do a zine alongside that. And then being me, the zine turned into a book because, I don't know, I have very high standards for myself.
You're an overachiever.
Well, yeah, I either do something well or I don't do it at all, or it takes me months, or a combination of all of the above. Like, I'm a bit useless, but I try and produce something quite high quality at the end. But that went so well, and it sold out so quickly, and people were so interested in it, and I got such good feedback, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I thought I would do another one, but also because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, when I looked at the first one, I thought, okay, this is good, but I can do so much better than this. And I've approached this one differently. So I've approached it more like a book than like a zine. So the end product is 196 pages with stories from over 50 writers across the punk scene. And it's got loads of really great gig photography, like absolutely loads of gig photography in it. And it's just got all kinds of different stories. So I've set the book out into 5 different sections. And there's kind of your expectations of live shows in the first section. Then I've got an exploration section, which is all about traveling to different parts of the world. And we've got stories from Japan, stories from North America. Paul from La Armada has written about his experiences touring LA and seeing the different cultures there. There's one of the guys from the Hostiles has written about going to Malaysia. And yeah, there's just so many different stories in there. And then we talk about the mishaps and mayhem, like all the stuff that goes wrong when you're on tour. So there's a whole section of tour stories of everything going like, kaput. And then, yeah, talking as well about the kind of enlightening and really joyful bits of gigs that we all enjoy. So I've tried to spread it out and really cover like the full experience. But you guys have both written for it as well. So, Paul, I quite enjoyed your story for it.
There was no doubt in my mind what topic I was going to choose. So if I thought about it, there might be something, because I was like, I'm not going to say which one it was because people have to buy it to find out.
No, go ahead, it's fine. I'm going to be releasing some of it for people to read anyway.
Because I was like, my favourite mission that I've done was going to the Asian Man 20th Anniversary Festival in San Francisco for the Link 80 reunion shows, where I just bought a ticket and they sold out in 20 minutes, so I was right place, right time. Then I was like, right, let's go to America, I guess. And that ended up in a 19-day trip covering 6 or 7 cities and like a whole bunch of other gigs as well, like my first time at Gilman, etc., etc. But instead, I thought I'd go for one where me and you went to Slovenia and got.
And I abandoned you.
It got silly, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, so you wrote about our fateful weekend of Brack Rock and Punk Rock Holiday.
Yeah, because I wasn't even
in
going until
2018.
like less than a month beforehand, and you were like, "Looks like you're coming." It's like,
I
cool.
pushed you into it, and then I disappeared into my own little world of drunkenness for 5 days and didn't see you.
Well, I mean, like, the second day at Blackrock killed me anyway because of the
Oh God.
Kim's very generous free beer offer.
Yeah, the free beer and the free cocktails was quite a problem.
Yeah.
You allude to it in your story. Basically, you said you found me in the morning looking slightly worse for wear.
Yeah.
But the reality was that I passed out in a bush and got woken up by the Lawrence Arms. And then they came to check on me at breakfast, and I was like, why are the Lawrence Arms talking to me? And how do they know me? And it turns out they know me because I passed out in a bush.
Oh, nice
God.
guys.
They were very nice. And Colin, you've written about one of my favourite festivals as well.
Yeah, I wrote about Book Your Own Fest in Dundee. It was Derek and the Make That a Take records people put on.
Yeah.
It's just, well, I think one of the best festivals in the UK. It's obviously a lot smaller than a lot like MPF, but just being like that Scottish punk scene just seems like such a tight knit, like family, I guess.
They are like a family, but it feels like they welcome you into the family.
Yeah, that's it. It just feels like you can go in, not know a single soul there, and just feel like everyone is your best friend. And it's just like, as festivals go, like I recommend like MPF and Level Up and like Booze Cruise and stuff to everyone. But I think if you're only going to go to one, I'd say Book Your Own Fest, just for that.
I'd agree. Yeah, it's quite a special environment. It feels like there's magic in the air, sort of thing. I don't want to sound like some kind of hippie claptrappy thing, but it's just a really special little festival.
There's just
and
so many amazing,
some damn good bands.
Oh, there's so many amazing bands in Scotland. Considering Scotland is not that big a place, there's so many incredible bands.
I think as well, if you're like us and you really like that kind of melodic gruff punk that's a bit bleak, perfect environment for it. Yeah, it's good for that.
I think I was there that weekend messaging Paul like after every band, like, you should book these. You should book these.
Yes, book these. Book these. Book these. Yeah, if you could just get Deeka to book your gigs, Paul, I think that would be the way forward. But yeah, there's so many great stories.
The one that I text you, because obviously you sent me a draft very kindly, us a draft, and I was like, I'm going to skip to Josh Goldman's story because when Dopamines and Nathans were over, like, I had them at New Crossing, followed them to Slovenia, and when they landed in London, I think, we were the first gig. So they landed and they wanted to store all their gear at the venue like the night before. So I let them into the green room, be like, leave it there, and then was like, right, let's go to the pub. Met up with the rest of them at a pub near where do Tone and Phil live in London,
like Notting Hill kind of way, don't they?
It's Notting Hill kind of way. So they were staying with them that night. So got to the pub at about 3:00, and I learned the hard way to not drink with the Dopamines and Raging Nathans of an afternoon, because it got very messy. Like the whole tour was crazy from what I can remember. I know that John Wiener from Dopamines ended the last song of their tour at Punk Rock Holiday by jumping off stage and launching his bass into the lake. And Bjorn, bearded punk 4am, jumped in to rescue the bass and didn't take his phone out of his pocket. Silly boy.
Oh no!
And it's like, he obviously, he deserved to. He didn't even want his bass back. It was a tour bass, and I was like, it's going to be like some kind of shenanigans and that. And then I read it, and I was like, well, that's dark. That took a turn.
Well, yeah, Josh's story was actually, Josh was I think he was the second person to send me a submission. Actually, it was really weird, actually, because a lot of people took, a few weeks, or in fact, actually, a few people submitted well after the deadline. Some of which got in, some of which didn't. But the first two that I got, the first one I got was Jake from Sunliner. He sent me a story within a couple of hours of me asking for stuff. And the second one I received was Josh's from the Raging Nathans and the Dopamines. And I was expecting something, I don't know, some kind of crazy tour antics, but actually it's a really sad story about something horrendous that happened during that tour.
It seems that he needed an outlet for it as well, like some kind of therapy, writing it down. So I think that probably is why he was kind of ready for it as well. It's like,
I think so.
I need to write
I
it down.
need to talk
kind of
about
thing.
this. I
Like,
think
he is one of the nicest people I've ever met through this. Like, he is such a sweetheart.
he's really wonderful, and he's been so responsive and easy to work with as well. Like, which I think is quite an important thing for bands in the DIY scene, particularly if you're booking shows and things like that. You notice when people are lovely, don't you?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so his was quite a tricky one. They were strangely, obviously, that story, when I was editing it, it made me feel quite emotional. I won't spoil what goes on in it for anyone who does pick up the book. But there were quite a lot of stories in there that made me feel quite emotional. Even some just talking about the joy of live shows. Tom Houseman from Follow Your Dreams wrote a piece just about what it feels like to be on stage and how you feel connected to the other members of your band when you're on stage. And reading that just made me feel really, I don't know, we've missed it this year. And I've been sifting through all these amazing live music photos to go in there and trying to pick out the best ones, and then remembering, that happened at that event, that happened at that event. And it's been it's been really fun, but actually quite an emotional I think I've cried a couple of times in making it. But one thing I did want to mention is that the book itself, I'm a big supporter of the Music Venue Trust in general. Like, even outside of the pandemic, before all that happened, there were so many music venues that were really struggling to stay open. And they're such an important thing for us. You know, it's a secular meeting place where we all get together and spend our lives. And it's so important that we keep those venues open. So when I was putting together Papercuts this time around, for starters, I don't feel comfortable profiting off other people's writing, and people like you guys and all the other 48 writers that we've had, you know, I don't feel comfortable making any money from the work that they've done, but I wanted to charge a fair price for the book. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to raise some money for the Music Venue Trust. We've raised over 850 quid so far, which is quite nice.
Well done.
Yeah. Funny enough, because Do It Together Fest raised, 880 for Mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my one goal for Papercuts was to beat that. So if I sell another 3 copies, I'll beat our total for Do It Together Fest.
hopefully this
you can
advertisement
do it,
will tip it over the edge.
Where can you find it to buy it?
Well, if anyone wants to buy a copy of our amazing 200-page book full of stories, then they can go to shoutlouder.bigcartel.com.
I'll put a link
at the bottom of this.
At the bottom, yeah, that's what
I'll link in the show notes.
We're not YouTube influencers.
No,
thanks for letting me have the time to plug that.
That's no problem. So we're going to take a quick break in a minute, and then we're going to be back to do fantasy festivals and play that game.
Oh, it's going to make me sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will make us all sad. Right?
Made me sad doing it, but it was fun.
Yeah, yes. Right. And we'll see you in a second. Right, welcome back to part 2 of the CPRW podcast. Now we're going to move on to the main thing we're here to sort of talk about today, and I guess play. It's our fantasy festivals game, which we've done in a previous episode. It's a kind of a festival where you have to sort of book, a fantasy festival where you have to book 9 bands, including your headliner and an after party band. And you have to follow some specific rules, which are one has to be acoustic, one has to have formed in the last couple of years, at least one band featuring a non-man or someone from the LGBTQ plus sort of community, one band featuring a person of colour, or at least one band featuring a person of colour, at least one band from mainland Europe, because fuck Brexit, one reunion, and the headliner must be far too big for the venue that they're playing at. And the cover band must be something completely new. So the Burnt Tapes have been the Menzingers before, so you couldn't have that. So you have to something that's not been done, which you think will be cool. I guess we're going to do it in alphabetical order for funsies, and because the alphabet is the best.
It means you go first.
That means I can get mine out of the way. And then the professionals do their thing.
I've got to say, I found this really hard. I don't know about you guys.
I found it surprisingly easy. I say surprisingly, it's literally my job to make up festivals.
Yeah, so... you get to book your fantasy festival all the time, Paul.
I mean, that's literally level up every year. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I found it hard partly because I mean, some of the rules, because it's only 9 bands, I felt quite restricted for who I could have with 9 bands. Like I had a lot more than 9 that I wanted to include. But also I was thinking that because I've not been to any gigs this year, you know, apart from right at the beginning of the year, it's like a lot of bands, they're not like straight in my head like they normally
fresh
would
in the
be.
mind. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I found this one harder because I did one on the last episode. We did this as well.
You need 9 new bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that one, I kind of picked a load of bands that I'd like to see and then picked a headliner that I thought would suit.
Yeah.
Which is probably the backwards way around of doing gigs and promoting.
No, I don't know if that is actually. Like Paul, I mean, I suppose if you're doing a gig that's 3 or 4 bands, you'd start with the headliner and work your way down. But if you're putting together a festival, do you not sort of pick the bands that you think would suit the audience and then work out a headliner to go with it? Or
I, as much as possible, I get the headliner locks in, then you know what your budget is, etc. And then I try and get an opener sorted because that's quite hard.
I think the opener is a big one, actually.
Especially with the Scar stuff, because like Just Say Nay, Codename Colin, Leadshot Hazard, they're all too good to open now. They're too like...
Yeah.
They've been going a long time. I need new Scar bands, please.
I mean, definitely on my lineup, I'd say that at least 6 out of the 9 are headliners, really.
Wow.
In fact, I'd say that 3... I'd say that 7 out of 9 I've seen headline gigs. So
I'd say 5 of mine would be headline level.
Although, ironically, I'd say that my headliner isn't massive, to give you guys a clue for later. I found the headliner really difficult. You know? So
the headliner's got to be too big for the fantasy venue you're using. So I'm assuming you're using like Zombie Shack or something.
Something like that, yeah.
What a good venue Zombie Shack is.
Well, no, I mean, the rule I was given is that the headliner must be too big for 350 capacity, which I've not completely followed, but fuck it, I don't care.
Which is nice and easy for me because that is the exact capacity of Newcastle.
Yeah, this is I just kind of imagined my festival would be at Newcross because that's where I used to spend all of my time.
Well, I planned mine in my head to be at New Cross, although it's not New Cross that I'm going for. But in my head, I was like, right, what would I do around New Cross? But then one of the things that's tricky, and that I think we found a bit when we were planning to do it together fest, is being up north. That there are different bands that work really well up here that don't work in London. And that was like a proper discussion that we had, wasn't it?
And also with Lockjaw being quite Eurocentric as well. You obviously wanted some mainland bands over, and the businessman in me is like, they don't sell any tickets.
Although actually, in the end, we did quite well off the back of that, didn't we? So we had
like Forever Unclean smashed it, Fabled Mind smashed it.
Yeah, and even Fabled Mind, although we had them on early in the day, they played to pretty much a full venue, didn't they? Yeah, they did all right. And Forever Unclean, oh my god, I love them so much.
I like going back to like Forever Unclean. I can't like following. They followed Call Me Malcolm, didn't they? Which is a very hard thing to do at New Cross.
That's a hard ask.
But they blew it out the park. They were fantastic. I mean, they're always good, but I think that's probably the biggest crowd they played to in London as well.
Well, I think that for all of the fests that we do, to an extent, one of the things I like the most is that we switch between different genres. So obviously all of us have a bit of a penchant for ska or skacore, which a lot of other sort of punk listeners don't have. But I think, mixing up genres nowadays is the way to go, big time.
Yeah, I completely haven't done that for this festival because I've tried to work with a theme. Just so you because part of the game is like we're going to run down our support acts, and then the other people have to guess the headliner. I've tried to stick with a theme to make it a bit easier for that side of it. But so I'll start, I guess. So mine, I haven't given it a name because I forgot. Poppity Pop Punk Festival, that's what it can be called.
Pop Punk.
So my opener is going to be Sea Rage.
Nice.
Because, first of all, when the last one I did, he messaged me and saying, "Oh, I could have been your acoustic act and your reunion band." So I figured, all right.
You have to split up.
And for the headliner, I know he's a big fan of them, so I figured if I was to put him on this gig, he would owe me favors for the rest of my life. And to be honest, I think if I say, "Hey, Craig, do you want us to come support this band?" he'd probably say no because he'd be too starstruck and unable to do it. But he did really well when he supported Ray Rocket, though. So
Yeah, it's true.
back when. Right, so my second band, or my next two bands, are both from Scotland. And I saw them both at Book Your Own Fest.
Goodbye Blue Monday.
No.
Not this slow down. Not this slow down.
Not this slow down, no.
Oh,
So the first one are a band called Dog Eared, who are, I think, a three-piece from Dundee.
yeah, they're good.
They're sort of following the footsteps like the Murder Burgers and Kimberley Steaks, sort of fast, really, really fast, like pop punk.
The kind of classic Scottishy pop punk. They've
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
style.
I think they've also got a bit of fast fade in them as well, though. Like
Hmm.
they kind of edge a bit towards the sort of skate punk bit as
A
well.
bit Captain Everything-y. Or...
Yeah. Well, not
Yeah.
quite Captain Everything, but just fast and a bit more edgy on the pop punk. From what I remember, I've only seen them once. It was over a year ago now. But I really enjoyed them. And I feel like a lot of people in London would enjoy them. My next one are 10 AM, who are another Scottish band, who I believe are from Edinburgh, but I might be wrong. Again, like three-piece, sort of really upbeat, summery pop punk stuff, like really upbeat, but they've also got like quite socially conscious lyrics as well. And like, I remember watching them, and they were sort of got like ready, and they all sort of just turned up in like beach wear. And this was in Scotland in December when it was like minus 20 degrees. It felt like for me as a sort of southern softie. Like they're based.
What criteria do those two fit into?
Well, Dog Eared are just a new band from 2 years ago.
Okay.
10 AM are probably also a new band, and they also have a non-male member. Yeah, and like their bass player Beth, she also performs as a solo like act under the name Flinch, who have got some new music coming out in March, and that's really good as well. But Flinch aren't playing, just 10 AM. My next one are Champit, who are London band.
Very good. I like a bit of Champit.
Yeah, like sort of indie pop punk stuff. I saw them play with Reviver a few years ago now, and I really, really enjoyed them, but haven't seen them since for whatever reason.
That Vacation song off the first EP is one hell of an earworm.
Yeah. They write really,
So
really catchy songs, yeah.
Yeah.
And like they do seem to be just getting bigger and bigger as well. So I think with like they draw a decent crowd on their own now, and with the band who is my headliner, I think they be able to win over some of their fans as well.
Cool, that's good. That's interesting.
Yeah, my next one are Don Blake.
Nice, I love Don Blake.
One of these bands who like they've been going forever now, it seems like, and they consistently put out really good like albums.
Well, they put out Anti-Charisma Wholesale this year, didn't they?
Yeah, really, really good.
And that was before that. All I remember having off them was like a demo CD with a diamond on it that they handed me at a gig.
Wow.
Which I like that approach. Or did they do that, or did I buy it? No, I think they gave it to me. It was in Warrington because they're based. They're not far off where I live.
Like Lancashire, aren't they? Yeah.
They're north of here. They're kind of Bolton way. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen them pop up a few times. I hadn't heard of them until I moved up here, and then they pop up at the odd show, and you sort of think, oh, Don Blake, and you think, who are they? And then you go, oh shit, they're really good. And I every time I see them, I remember that actually they're great.
Yeah.
They're a really nice bunch of guys as well.
Yeah, I don't think they get the love like down like sort of London way that they perhaps deserve.
I think they deserve a lot more love than they currently get.
So I thought I'll stick them on as well.
Underrated band.
Their releases as well. They in essence are pop punk band, but every release seems to be a bit different as well. They sort of change it up a little bit as they go.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely liked the one they put out this year.
That was really good. My next one are a band from Europe. Do you know the Apers?
No.
Like Ramones core band, like obviously.
That'll be why I don't know them.
Yeah. The Apers are really, really, really good. Like one of my favorite bands of all time.
Are they better than the Sewer Rats, which I can't stop listening to still?
Wow. You guys have recommended that so highly, and I've still not listened to it.
Do it.
You'll probably hate it because it is Ramones core.
Right. Okay.
It sounds like Alistair.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It sounds like Alistair.
It's really
I officially promise to check it out after this podcast.
Please do. It's belting.
Yeah. But the Apers, they're a Dutch band. I think they're from Rotterdam, but they're
nice.
like legends in like the European Ramones core scene. I've never got to see them. I don't think I've heard a song from them that I dislike, so I want to bring them over and be able to see them. I think if the European like Ramones core scene is really, really good as well, and we don't have.
I didn't know that there was a Ramones core scene.
Oh, exactly. This is the thing.
Is that a thing?
It's really, really good. Like all like the Monster Zero and sort of Stardom record stuff.
Yeah,
and like Brass Neck Records bring a lot of their sort of releases over.
I love a lot of Brass Neck stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So and like I think in England we don't have much of a Ramones core kind of scene for whatever reason.
I always struggle with like that kind of support because everyone's either too skate or too tech or too hardcore or whatever.
Yeah.
No, just like kind of like power pop. And if there is, please tell me about them.
Yeah, yeah. But I remember when you booked Masked Intruder for New Cross.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year, and you were like, "Who can we get as support?" Who sounds a bit like Masked Intruder? Because there aren't that many bands.
The answer is no one. Who did support?
Who did you get?
Eat Defeat, Spoilers, and
Famous Class.
Famous Class, because I know they're Stu's favourite band, and I talked to him a lot, and I was like, "I'll chuck you on this one."
I'm trying to think. I saw Masked Intruder in London a few years back, but oh god, what venue was it? A venue that's now closed down. That's near Crowbar.
Borderline.
Yeah, the Borderline. Who played with them then? Because I'm sure that was like Narwhals or something ridiculous.
Murder Burgers.
Murder Burgers.
Murder Burgers.
Yeah, I went to the Fighting Cock show, and it was, I want to say, Throwing Stuff were on that tour.
I went to that show.
They were.
I was at that show.
I'm sure it's.
That was a different tour.
I might have also been at that show.
First time I saw Masked Intruder, they supported Flatliners at the Underworld.
Nice.
What a lineup.
Very nice.
I never heard of Masked Intruder, and so I went Flatliners, and Masked Intruder finished, and I was like, might as well go home. There's no way Flatliners going to beat that show.
That's right. My penultimate band, who would have been a really good support for Masked Intruder if they were still going, would be Mike TV.
Oh,
because I love that band, and I really
excellent reunion.
I really, really miss them, and would love to see them play some more shows. I think
that is a good reunion.
There would be interest in it as well. Like I was at one of your shows
I'd go to that.
a year or two, maybe a year ago, and I had Mike TV t-shirt on, and like someone was talking to me about them for ages, and I was like, I want to go watch your band now, but this chap was still like talking. So
people really like Mike TV.
Yeah, if you don't know who Mike TV are, they used to be Pickle Dick. And just it's really, really catchy pop punk, incredible harmonies. Like their album Pandemonium from when they were Pickle Dick.
Just listen to Ship Ahoy.
Yeah,
like it's just the perfect song.
Like Pandemonium is probably up there with my favourite pop punk records of ever.
A few years ago, I bumped into John at some Signature Brew shindig, and was hustling him for a reunion gig. And although he wasn't disinterested, the nice guy that he is, I understand it's mainly because of what's his name's Dom's. He can't be trusted in a gig scenario because of drink issues.
Right.
Which is fair enough.
I understand they split up to save him from himself, which is very admirable.
Fair play.
I like that, and in that case, I support them staying apart. That's a good thing.
See, now I feel bad for putting them on this fantasy festival.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's only a fantasy.
In an ideal world, if it was possible for them to get back together and everyone be safe and happy and healthy, then I would love to see it.
Next time I see Richie at an Eat Dirt show, I'll mention it to him as well.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, you want to guess who my headliner might be?
Oh, that's tricky. So you're kind of going for kind of a power pop vibe.
You haven't had an American band yet, have you?
I have not.
So I'm going to guess they're a North American band.
You guessed correctly.
That are too big for a 350 cap.
Not Teenage Bottle Rocket.
No.
Obviously not Masked Intruder, because we've been talking about that.
No. I think much bigger than that.
I'm guessing not Screeching Weasel for various reasons.
Yeah.
So basically, my knowledge of punk stops when you get to people who would fill a 350 cap venue.
Nah.
It sounds really, really up myself, but I like small bands.
Yeah, I would say they're pop punk, but I wouldn't say they're in like the Ramones core sort of style of pop punk. They're like godfathers of pop punk, really. They've been going forever.
Godfathers of pop punk, Descendants?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that would be.
Oh my God, Descendants! Why
in a
haven't I got them
tiny
as my
venue,
headliner?
yeah.
I was trying to think more like, because like your whole lineup is quite obscure, and then you're just like, right,
Yeah,
Descendants.
that's what I was
Well,
thinking.
that's where all my money is going.
Oh, now the whole Sea Rage thing makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Because
Now,
I think
my main problem with this is why have I not thought to book Descendants? Balls. Why have I not done that? Oh God.
I thought about this 2 days ago. You thought about this afternoon.
Yeah, admittedly, mine took about half an hour of planning. And,
I'm not drinking for once, so I'm going to very much leave my opinions about bands to myself.
that would be wise.
Yeah. So I think, like, well, given how rarely the Descendants tour, they're never ever going to do small venues.
No, and the
There's
amount
too
you
many
have to
people
pay
who
for
want to see
them.
them.
There's some bands that will just never, unless it's like in like 30 years' time when they start doing the 100 club kind of level, like the 70s bands.
Yeah.
Like there's certain bands where they're not going to get any smaller.
And fair enough, because a lot of people want to see them. It would be a shame for people who really, because the Descendants are so many people's favourite band ever. So
yeah, could we not have them as like a 10-date, like 2-week thing at New Cross and just have them play every night again and again and again and again?
That might kill me, but
I'm still holding out hope that one day Green Day will want to do like 10 album shows in 10 days at New Cross.
Yes.
You know,
One day.
One day. Yeah, so now we've just got my after party.
Well, I would go to that festival. I can tell you that now.
We've still got the after party to go.
Oh yeah, but come on, we'll all be too sort of knackered by then, won't we?
Well, yeah, but I put thought into this, so we're going to talk about it. So by the band is going to be Pardon Us. Who do you think they'll cover?
Ooh, I love Pardon Us. They were actually nearly on my lineup.
They are American and old.
Old and American, and
not
would work with Pardon Us.
Ramones.
Oh no, they're still a current band as well.
All right.
Well, Pardon Us are more gruffy as well. So are we going in a more gruff direction?
I don't know.
Or are we staying in the pop?
I feel like, like the band they're covering is kind of pop a bit, but more like, it's hard to explain it without giving it away. But
older American bands.
Older American legends.
Fat Wreck?
No. Epitaph. 90s, I guess. 2000s.
Who's on
still
Epitaph?
Going. Oh, they're not on Epitaph anymore, but like the.
So it's not Bouncing Souls then.
Oh, it is Bouncing Souls.
Oh, I think they're the one remaining Epitaph band, surely.
No, their recent stuff's been on like Rise Records, I think. And
is it?
Rise Records are that label that came out of nowhere and were getting all the good bands. They've been Pure Noise.
Hang on, they're still releasing albums.
Bouncing Souls.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Bouncing Souls did something beyond True Believers.
Wash your mouth out.
How dare you? I don't think you're allowed to come to this festival.
I'm just here to wind you up.
They're getting better live as well, I swear, with age.
Yeah.
Like each time I see them, they're getting better and better. I don't know how. They've been going about 40 years.
The only time I saw Bouncing Souls recently was they played I think Dan Orcroft had booked them for a show in Norwich at Epic Studios or something like that. And it was Bouncing Souls, and then they'd got Aerial Salad. They'd agreed to stick them on as the opener, and this would also, particularly, this was before anyone had heard of Aerial Salad. This was their first tour, as it were. And when I say tour, I mean 3 nights in a row. And they played at Epic Studios, and I remember there were a bunch of us lined up outside, and they played Aerial Salad. They played their set before doors.
I think I've heard about this from them.
Yeah. So they played their set before doors because I don't know, there was some issue with their tour booker or whatever about approving the support acts, and they managed to convince them to still play, but they hadn't opened the doors.
Heaven forbid you choose a opener of your choosing without speaking to the agent, who speaks to the management, who may or may not speak to the band, etc., etc.
But yeah, they did still play, but to no one.
At least you got to hear.
And imagine, I'll tell you what, imagine now as well with Aerial Salad doing as well.
And now they're on Sky One.
Yeah, and now they're amazing.
Yeah,
they were amazing back then, but like now they're really getting recognition. You know.
Yeah, and rightly so.
It's really nice
fucking
to see
grafted.
That. Yeah.
They work hard. Yeah. Good lads. Now I'm like, oh god, I keep thinking all this mention of bands is making me want to change my lineup. But anyway, carry on.
So Paul's going to go next, I guess, with his festival.
Scar.
The Professional.
There is some ska. All right. It needs a little less explaining, yours, Colin, because it is mainstream, I guess.
Mainstream. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Or should I say obvious?
Is it all trance? Because you've been listening to a lot of trance.
Yeah, I've got DJ Sammy opening. and trance, Nick. No. Right, my openers, probably only ones that no one's ever heard of, is an acoustic duo from Essex called Torn Out.
Cool.
Who haven't played a gig for probably knocking on 10 years, but they never technically split up. But they played. Me and Mike discovered them on MySpace, to give you where the era was at the time. And they kindly posted a couple of demos over when you used, letterboxes and stuff. And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. I'm not really one for acoustic music, but it's just that they're like Filaments Acoustic. They sound like that, just that kind of Essex shouty kind of thing. And they got bizarrely popular in Gravesend when we were putting on gigs there way back when. And I'd put
Popular in Gravesend.
Anything.
What a highlight.
It didn't matter whether it was a ska show or a punk show, and they'd get sing-alongs, and they were like kind of like world famous in Gravesend for a year or two. So they're on just for being the best acoustic band, act, whatever I've ever seen.
Awesome.
After them is my new band that I think formed in 2018, which will be Love Songs, for that wonderful,
Very
roughy.
good. I think we all liked a bit of that.
Yeah.
They were nearly on our Do It Together Fest lineup, weren't they?
I think they were close
Yeah.
to making a cut, but they're one of the only bands that have sent me an unsolicited demo with no explanation, and I actually listened to it and was like, "What are you doing next week? I need to see you immediately." Then we go third on Just Say Nay.
Of course.
Amazing band.
Of course, for their multi-gender lineup and for being just awesome and playing everything that I pretty much ever put on. Really obvious one next. Bit low down, but that's how the lineup goes. Chewing on Tinfoil.
Oh, that is low down.
Nice.
For being European for one, and my favourite for another.
They are excellent as well.
Yeah. That new song they released, was it Christmas Day they released that?
Oh, I mean, it's so
Incredible.
bleak, but so good.
Yeah.
Very much in keeping with the theme of the year, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, it's not been that good.
And yet so good. Yeah, what?
Yeah.
It's just been bleak.
Next up is my reunion, which was kind of tough.
My third leg.
because
My third leg.
never technically split up. But I've gone for the one band of a certain era that have never done a reunion, the Household Name Days. And we're going heavy, and we're going with Five Knuckle.
Oh, hello. Yes, I will come to your festival.
Because I would quite happily write them a blank check to do one gig for me. Just be like, just do
That would
it,
be
lads.
amazing.
Need to get on to Hell Hath No Holly, because I think her brother's super tight with the front man of Five Knuckle. I swear they
Because he was
shared
in Adequate Seven. Yeah.
But I've spoken to her about Five Knuckle a couple of times. It's like, give them.
Go on.
After Five Knuckle, we got to go third wave after that. After all that moshing, we got to go dancey.
You say
So
that.
it's my North American band, and it also contains a couple of people that aren't white.
Whoa.
And they should have played last year, Colin.
Oh,
Who is it?
Bucko 9.
Bucko 9.
Ah.
So close. Confirmed the show and had it snatched away from me.
No.
No one's fault.
Oh, that would
People
have been
just
nice.
it's quite hard to get a 7-piece band over to Europe for the first time in 20 years, it turns out. Who knew? Now we're entering the party times of the festival, as we all get, well, not you two, but I certainly get drunker. This band doesn't come in any category other than they deserve to be on any festival, and that is the Bennies.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Good festival band.
Party
Because
band.
when I was
Very good party band.
I was struggling with the single North American band, and then I was like, Australia exists.
Yeah.
Let's get the Bennies in. So now we come to my headliner. Good luck.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, Christ. So I'm assuming it's ska.
It is ska.
It's not North American because we've had
No.
that.
It is not.
Are they English?
They are not.
Interesting.
Oh, I know. I reckon.
Ska.
Are they Italian?
No.
Oh, I don't know. It's not Talco.
It's not Talco.
Do you remember that time we saw Talco and I was barely conscious, Paul?
I remember because it was my fourth attempt after having them booked twice and them cancelling both times and arriving at Boomtown seemed too late on their one ever UK show, and then I finally saw them at Punk Rock Holiday.
Yeah. They didn't play Brack Rock before that either, did they?
No.
No, it was just Punk Rock Holiday. Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
Main reason I went.
I was not in a good way at that point in the festival. What am I thinking?
Find out more.
So, not English, not North American, ska band.
I've never seen them. They are often Euro Festival headliners. They are just.
Never seen them.
They're very, very big in their market.
Oh, is it like Scar P? That is their name?
Correct. It is Scar P.
Oh, really? I really like Scar P, but I've been wound up relentlessly for it in the past.
I don't care how cheesy they are, man.
I don't think
they're
I've
bloody
ever
fun.
listened to them.
Oh,
So-
they're just really cheesy. They're great.
They played Kentish Town Forum a fair few years ago.
Mm.
I want to say it's the only time they've ever been over here, and I didn't go probably due to shift work and being poor. But my brother went because he loves them, and he was at Tottenham in uni at the time. And he said he went on his own and was pretty much the only Englishman there. It was just full of Spanish living in London.
Well, they're really, really big over there, like huge.
Yeah, like they're stadium size, like ridiculous.
I remember I was in Madrid at some point, and like when I used to travel by myself, I used to have a rule about getting like a little souvenir from every single place, like something that was odd that I wouldn't find elsewhere. And I was walking through this flea market, and they had like a section with loads of patches and badges of bands, but it was like The Offspring and NoFX and Scar P, and that was that was the level that they were at. So I brought home this patch, and then I got relentlessly wound up for having that on a jacket for a while.
I was going to go to. I was looking at going to J on Air this year purely because they were headlining, and also
Were
I'm sure they were. They were either
I went last year and it was a good festival, but it was a bit of a challenge as well. It was so hot. I remember that there was like, not like a flagpole, but there was like this really tall, slim pole thing. And there were a set of people just sat in one long row in the shadow of this pole because it was one of the only pieces of shadow you could get to. And I remember, I think Joelle and that went home early because they were just too hot.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it was too hot. I was like, I had a sleep backstage behind a stage in the grass because it was like this slim patch of shade that I'd managed to find, and a couple of generators blew because of the heat. I remember it cut out the power to where Darko were playing, and they only played like 3 songs and then the power cut out.
I miss the chaos, but no, I was going to go this year because it was the same weekend that Green Day were doing West Ham's ground, whatever it's called, London Stadium.
Oh yeah.
So I was going to go from that to Holland on the Saturday purely. Scar P were playing along with like NoFX, Anti-Flag, Jai the Cat. But do you know who else was confirmed for it but not announced?
I do
not know.
I don't know if they were announced yet.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to stay on this podcast anyway, just in case
Tell
I
us.
get rebooked. Just Say Nay.
Really?
Really.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So
Very good.
you know, Jason has a cheeky hand in booking some of the lower down bands on Gerard.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, I think they just wanted a ska band to fit in with like Jaya and Scar P and that, and he said just say nay, and they were like, yeah, and I was
What
like,
a top choice.
I've got to go.
Good lads.
Yeah, Scar P, my headliner. Right after show,
The catering is really good there, by the way.
duly noted. I'll start at the hand, or try and get a all inclusive.
Yeah, it's really good.
pass.
You get a little cabin to yourself with lots of snacks in it. So
Very nice.
and a lot of Jupiler.
I like Jupiter. For my after party, I've chosen a band doing a genre rather than a particular band. Is that allowed? Is that permitted?
Is the genre Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2?
It's not. That's been done. We know this.
Yeah, that's the aversions. Yeah, I go.
But it's obviously a non-ska genre played in a ska punk style.
Right.
Feel free to have a punk.
So
at
we
the
guess a
band or
band
the
playing
genre.
punk songs in a ska style.
Nah, not even punk, mate.
Oh,
Interesting.
I'm
Not
just going to
like
guess "Call Me Malcolm"
kids
because you
songs like
haven't
Eat
said them
Dirt
yet.
style.
It's not Calling Malcolm. They get enough off of me. They're not having this. But you're a right ballpark in terms of who the actual band is.
Code name, Colin?
Right ballpark as Call Me Malcolm.
They're not strangers to an after show, but they've not done this as a full set.
Oh, King Punch then, surely.
It is King Punch. And I'd quite like to see King Punch do a full hour of new metal covers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
kind of cheating because they do Chop Suey, but I want to see them do like, you know, Limp Bizkit and 1 Minute Silence and Slipknot and Linkin Park and you name it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I'd just go to that, I think, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's a lot of it. I've been listening to a lot of new metal lately, thanks to podcasts with Eddie, and I'm like, it still is a great genre, and I like ska punk
I have
and
a
new
theory
metal.
that
I'm
it's
so
actually
cool
going
and
to come
popular.
back. I reckon, you know how there's been a resurgence of different genres and different clothing and things like that. I think that the era that we're due a resurgence for is the kind of long baggy trousers, wallet chain, bad glasses, like things like that. I think there's going to be a new metal thing.
Come across Wargasm?
No.
Brand new bands.
Okay.
They did a couple of seated shows, which I believe were their debut shows, and the support called Death Bloom. They're both like, I wasn't there, but Eddie texted me being like, these are new metal as fuck. You're going to love them. And he's convinced that there's going to be a revival of new metal.
Yeah, I 100% am. And I think it's going to be led by, I think, a couple of bands will come back for a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe with like, we might have one like old new metal band come back with a new album that's actually good.
Yeah.
Which I find it hard to believe that could happen, but I reckon it might. And then I think there'll be like, yeah, just a bit of a general resurgence. I don't know about you guys in London, but I can already see it in the fashion in Manchester a little bit. Like some of the students are wearing very terrible clothing that I used to wear as a teenager.
Oh, bring it all back, please.
I've still got my wallet chain. I'm ready.
I mean, even on, what is it today, December the 29th, I'm still wearing shorts.
Of course you are.
Because, you know, I've got to keep that, you know, that style alive.
To be fair, I'm sat here in shorts as well, so...
What is wrong with
You know...
We're not off.
Lank from JB Conspiracy lives round the corner from my office, and I see him all the time just wandering the streets. And I got into the office, looked at my phone, and he texted me saying, good to see you're back in the hood, and commented on my clothing, my inappropriate clothing. It's like, cheers, mate. Catch you soon. Stop stalking me.
Yeah, so we're about to time out again because we chat a lot. So we're going to take a little break again, and then we'll hear what Sarah's festival lineup is.
Ooh.
Back in a second. Right, welcome back to part 3 of the podcast. We're now going to move on to Sarah's Fantasy Festival. So take it away, Sarah.
I am excited by this, but I also did not spend enough time on it because I keep thinking of new bands that I want to add to it. But you know, it's too late for me now. It's too late.
We'll have you on again another time.
I'll just make a massive like 40 band festival, and then we can put it on somewhere in Spain, Paul. First band opener. I'll be honest. So the approach that I've taken here is mostly bands that I want to see. And then it's a bonus if people turn up.
That's a good. That's what B Sharp has been doing for 15 years.
Although, given that the lineup has no budget and is a fantasy, I've also booked like the lineup does not make sense. I will tell you that now. And there's also a lot of big bands. There's a lot of like heavy hitters in here that should not be this low on the bill. But it's the nature of a 9-band bill. It's fine.
There you go.
So opening, I wanted to have Stodge Snack.
Nice.
Yeah, although apparently the way that one pronounces that is Stoy Snack, but I've still mispronounced it. Stoy.
I pronounce it Stodge, but yeah, that sounds more correct.
Yeah, I believe it is Stoy Snack. But yeah, so I wanted him to open. Obviously, partly that ticks the European sort of notch there, but also he's incredible and his live show is amazing. And I was thinking as an acoustic set here rather than the full band number because he's just incredible and he's got a wonderful voice and his new album's really good. And there's a few people in the UK scene, at least, who are absolutely obsessed.
Emma.
Yeah, Emma, me. Randomly, Sarah Harrington always comes up in my head as well. But there's a few of us who would like. I know people from Manchester who will drive to go and see him wherever he is. Oh, to be fair though, they wouldn't have to drive because I was thinking to do this at Deaf Institute. So were yours both at New Cross End?
Yeah.
And was that just not discussed?
I called mine the New Cross Inn Festivus for a little bit of a reference.
I liked it. I'm thinking probably just call mine Shout Louder Fest again.
Yeah, why not?
I know I've done it, but you know, if I've got a festival, I might as well just do it again, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking Deaf Institute in Manchester, partly because Deaf Institute's recently closed, and I like to think they could reopen it with this. But it's have either of you been?
I never have. No.
It's an incredible venue, right? It's this really old, ornate building, and the stage upstairs is really, I don't know how to describe it really, but you know, you're talking like red velvet curtains at the back of the stage. It's a big raised stage with a bar along one side. There's like a mezzanine area that you can see the bands from as well. And at the back, there's like this almost like theatre seating that goes up. So you can kind of sit at the back if you want to, or you can dance at the front, or you can stand on the mezzanine. There's like, you know, it's not huge, and it's this big black box of a room, but it's just, oh God, it's incredible there. And then there's like a little smoking area at the back and a restaurant downstairs and another venue. So yeah, I think it would be nice.
Yeah, that sounds really awkward if everyone just decides to sit down at the back and no one was in the
there's not.
This will obviously sell out though, so not an issue.
Fair.
Yes, exactly. Right. But no, I picked it mainly because it's a really beautiful old venue. Like it's the sort of place you'd get married. It's not like your regular grotty punk venue. I think, given a preference, I'm where I'd really like to host it would be the Smokehouse in Ipswich, where I used to work. But it would be far
doing
too small.
sound for Ed Sheeran and that.
No, that was the Arts Centre in Norwich. That was a long, long time ago. But no, Smokehouse is like a really cool DIY venue in Ipswich. When I used to come to New Cross quite often, that's where I was working then. But it's a little DIY space. It's only like 80 cap, and it's as part of a complex with like a recording area, like 4 practice rooms, a radio station, all in one building. And they do a lot of work with kids and kind of teach kids how to play instruments, how to do live sound. The venue's all volunteer run. I love it there. It's really cool. But anyway, so Stodge Snack opening. Second up, I want Follow Your Dreams. So local Manchester band, hardcore. It's a couple of guys from Rising Strike and my mate Kaz singing, and they're so damn good live. And I'm putting into my category of new band. They're in the last 2 years.
We saw them, didn't we, Colin?
We did at MPF in Signature Brew.
Yes.
Signature Brew. How were they?
Really
when
good.
When they did their beer brewing thing.
Mm.
Yeah, they played with it was Follow Your Dreams, Chloe Glover, Just Say Nay, and Drones.
And Katie.
Nice. Oh, and Katie, yeah.
Oh, and Katie, of course.
Don't forget Katie.
She'll be right. I gave her a gig just before lockdown, so she'll be right.
She wrote something for Papercuts as well. Did a little piece in there about Spanish love songs, which I thought was nice.
Oh, yeah, I gave her a slot in that as well. I'm good to her.
But yeah, I think, what about Follow Your Dreams? Yeah, I love them a lot. And they only played their first show 2 years ago, I think. I booked them first, but I think they played for someone else first. So I don't know.
Was MPF not one of their first gigs as well when they played?
That was their
Zombie
third
Shack?
gig,
Wow.
I believe. Shout Louder Fest was their second gig, I think. Yeah, anyway, so they've been going for that long and they're awesome and I love them. And also I wanted to book them specifically because some of my best friends are in that band and I want my best friends to be at my party. So that's why. That's fine, right? But yeah, I think they're absolutely incredible. Something worth noting for the headliner and the others here is I've booked all of them based on that. I think they're all really good live bands. Like there's no stinkers here. They're all amazing live, regardless of whether you like them or whether you like their genre. They're all really good live.
Yeah, so they Follow Your Dreams. Sorry, wait. I saw Follow Your Dreams and Book Your Own Fest. And I'm not much of a like heavy sort of punk listener, but they were incredible. And like
Yeah.
how they managed to, like, I'm assuming a lot of people there weren't that familiar with them.
No,
They just had everyone like on side, like by the end of their set.
they're just crazy and
Yeah.
heavy and confusing.
Yeah, I remember Tone from the Burnt Tapes sort of randomly turned up for one day, then disappeared. But
classic.
he was there during the Follow Your Dream set, and just remember him being like in a pit and like lifting Kaz up, I believe, and
Yeah.
Doing
Just in,
doing
like-
his thing,
yeah.
doing the tone dance.
So after Follow Your Dreams, I want Nosebleed, who
Excellent
are one of those
live band,
bands,
obviously.
incredible live band. Always get everyone. There you go. If you're worried about people getting on the dance floor, Nosebleed will sort it straight out.
Yeah.
They will get everyone down there. But yeah,
So join
Nosebleed I
them.
wanted on because they're like one of my favourite bands. Definitely one of my favourite live bands. I've missed seeing them so much this year. It's unbelievable.
This
Right.
is quite a huge coincidence, Colin, because the last gig that we were at together
Yeah.
was Barstool Preachers supported by Nosebleed.
Ah,
And the second to last gig, which was the day before, Follow Your Dreams played. What a
that's
coincidence.
There we
interesting.
go.
Hmm.
That was the first time I'd seen Nosebleed, and yeah, I was like, they were amazing.
Surely not.
No, that was the first time I met. No, I saw them kind of at an MPF. When you remember when Strike Anywhere played MPF?
Yeah.
And more people wanted to see Strike Anywhere that could get in the sound control.
I remember.
I remember, yeah. So I think we left
Oh,
before.
and Nosebleed played outside.
No, they played in a
Oh, they
Zombie
played
Shack,
at
sort of-
Zombie Shack.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did a
yeah,
last
just-
minute set and they were all really pissed.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Did
I
you
don't
not
think
see
I-
that they played Dougstock at New Cross Inn? Like,
I was going to say they played mid-afternoon at Dougstock, didn't
I
they?
have never
Yeah.
been to a Dougstock because they always have it on a Saturday, and I have to push
Oh.
trolleys
Good point.
around.
You
Well, I
and your
remember
shit
that
work.
because
I know, right?
wasn't that Dougstock Nosebleed played mid-afternoon on the Saturday? Not mid-afternoon, like 7 o'clock. They played the dinner break set, and they got off stage and were standing on the picnic tables with the mic and all that kind of thing, which is their normal sort of nosebleedy thing to do. But then Eat Dirt rocked up the next day and did exactly the same thing as if it hadn't been done.
Oh, you're so original, Ben.
Was that the one where Ben managed to smack Miriam in the face with a mic cable as well?
That might have been the second one. Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup now.
Yeah.
Ether didn't play. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, they played the Saturday,
Neither
Sunday.
did Nosebleed. I thought it was 2017, but I was wrong. It's 2018.
Yep.
Um,
I can base this because I was living in Manchester at the time.
yes. It's Crazy Arm Spoilers, Fair Dues, Almeida, Nosebleed, Revenge, Coral Springs,
Mhm.
Burnt Tapes on second from bottom.
Yeah. I remember
When they were
because
little.
I remember drinking with Revenge afterwards because they were leaving their gear in the venue overnight and we didn't want to leave it alone while the venue was open. So we thought we best, babysit the gear by drinking beer in front of it. And then one of the guys fell asleep in the van overnight and had knocked the indicator arm off the
Oh,
front of the van.
God.
And then they had trouble getting home
Dead
because
battery.
they couldn't
yeah.
indicate.
Oh,
No, they just completely knocked the
I
wiper
knocked it off
there.
completely.
Yeah, so they couldn't indicate. Had to get it fixed. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted Nosebleed on just because they're absolutely incredible and because I miss them. And then we get more into the more international scope of the bands. I had the exact same thought as Paul, which was that, okay, I can only have one North American band, but I can go to Australia, so I want to have Press Club.
Good shout.
Yeah, like they, again, insanely good live. And I got really obsessed with their album last year.
They were absolutely ridiculous at MPF.
I didn't see them at MPF.
Yeah, I didn't
don't
see him
think.
there.
I saw them at Grows Rock
It
a
annoyed-
week later.
So we had them here, and I didn't go because I think there's a period where there's just so many gigs I can't go to them all, and I think Eddie booked them rather than me, so I didn't feel obliged. And then I saw them at MPF, and I was like, why didn't I go and see them at New Cross Inn? I bet that was
Yeah, right.
amazing.
I saw them at Grows Rock, but I decided not to go see them at MPF for almost the same reason because there were so many bands I wanted to see
Yeah,
that I couldn't do everything, and I was running around and stuff. And then I saw them a week later at Grows Rock and was like, holy, why didn't I go see this at MPF as well? They're amazing. And then it was only after that really that I started listening to their album, or maybe it was released after that. I don't know. But yeah, I became really, really, really obsessive with it, like listening to it every day for a little while. So it would be nice now, having been obsessed with the album, to now go and see them live again. Now that I can scream all the words. Yourself. Exactly, and to book them myself, because why not? After Press Club, probably my favourite band of all time, which I'm assuming you know who my favourite band of all time is.
I'd go with Wilhelm Scream.
No, Random Hand are my favourite band of all time.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was thinking, yeah.
I was thinking Darker, so.
Well, yeah, Wilhelm Scream and Darker are favourite, like proper top bands, but of all time, it would have to be Random Hand, because I've been into them for so much longer.
Are they your like the band that don't fit a particular criteria? They're just there because you want them there.
I have multiple bands that don't fit the criteria because I managed to knock off the criteria.
Oh, like so you got multiple bands doing the same.
Sort of. I'll run over it at the end and it'll make sense. But yeah, Random Hand. I've got to have Random Hand on. And do you know what? So I did Shout Louder Fest 2 years ago, and I really wanted to book Random Hand because it was my 30th birthday, and I thought, right, fuck it. I'm basically booking the lineup that I want to see, and I don't care what anyone else wants. But I knew how much Random Hand cost, and I knew that I couldn't charge that much for tickets because of when it was, where it was, all that kind of thing. And I thought about asking them, and then I didn't because I thought, do you know what? If I do this, I'm going to lose money. I'm not going to be able to cover it. And I decided I'd rather have like a smaller venue with smaller bands and have it more of a mate fest than to go down the Random Hand route and potentially, do it at Rebellion and have like 400 cap or whatever.
Yeah.
So I decided not to, and then and then just before the gig, I think Joe from Random Hand I was just chatting to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we'd have done that." I was so annoyed because I hadn't got them for that. And then we did speak to them about Do It Together Fest last year, but I think one of them was in Hawaii.
Yeah, Robin was on his honeymoon, I believe.
Honeymoon, wasn't he? Yeah. So that was an original pick for us. But still, I have not booked Random Hand yet. So maybe once the pandemic's over, that will be one of my things that I do.
They're on my list, but I know they've got a couple of London shows, so I don't know if there's going to be room for a third one.
Yeah, I've heard things, but we shall see. Shameless self-promotion moment here. Robin from Random Hand wrote a really good short story for the book, for Papercuts. Like he took a proper like fictional approach and wrote a full like 8-9 page piece about it. He's written a really good little story. So any Random Hand fans, you should buy my book. Who else have I got? Okay, number 6. Also not from North America, but not from England. Not on tour.
Ah, fantastic.
I was thinking of a not on tour, a Useless ID for a bit of Israeli flavour.
Oh yes, got to be not on tour. They're so good. Again, just amazing live. I saw them at MPF last year.
Yeah, they were one of the highlights for me. I went in just because I didn't really want to see anyone else at that time, and like Emma and I was with Robin and Brett. They were like, "Oh, let's go see Not on Tour." So all right, and I was just amazed. Like,
I've got a theory that they were especially good at MPF because of what happened prior to their set. If you was aware of that,
I know their passports got stolen.
Yeah, their van got broken into.
I thought that happened just after their set. I say that now. I'm not wanting to humble brag here, but I was sat in the green room, in their green room with them, and I'm fairly sure they found out immediately after the set.
Trying to remember because Ben Davis from Spoilers was driving them, and obviously Eva was TMing, and I think they had to drive to Ben's in Canterbury straight after their set so that the van could stay safely somewhere without having any windows, and then Eva and someone else in the bands had to go to like the Israeli embassy in London first thing in the morning to get passports, like emergency passports or whatever. And then they played New Cross in like either the next day or the day after that. And she told me all this story. Come to England, they said.
I remember finding out straight after the set. And I
Yeah,
feel
I don't know if it happened right before or right after.
Yeah, I think it happened just after, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that was, oh God, that was such a good gig. That was honestly one of my all-time highlights, was seeing them at MPF.
So I didn't see them because I knew that I was seeing them at New Cross, and so I went and watched someone else instead. And then everyone's MPF reviews were not on tour with the best band of the whole thing, and I was like,
yeah, they
damn
were
it.
amazing.
Not that they weren't good at New Cross Inn, obviously, but I'm sure it would have been better than playing in front of 500 people at Gorilla or whatever.
It was nice having the contrast though, because I saw them at MPF, and I was actually stood backstage with Tree and Eva, because why not? And it was really nice just being able to see the crowd go completely insane. But then the week after, I went to Grows Rock and I got to have the complete opposite experience, and I was down in the front row just going completely mental. And screaming along as well. So I kind of got to have both sides of the coin, and it was an amazing experience.
That's why you got to see bands at least twice on tour.
Exactly.
One way you can take it all in, and one way you can lose your mind.
Yeah. So I did a bit of both, but yeah, I definitely have them on my lineup. And then my seventh band, just before we get to the headliner, would be one of my favourite bands of all time, which would be Capdown, who I was debating as a headliner, and I thought they're not big enough for a 350 cap venue, are they?
I don't
know.
I'd like to think that they are, but I think it might be unrealistic of me.
The last time they were going to play London, they sold out 2 nights at the Underworld, so did 1,000 people, and then had to cancel due to illness.
Oh yeah, I had tickets for that.
That was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So technically, they could be headliner, but...
Well, I thought about it, but anyway, Capdown. I've got to have Capdown. Give me Capdown. God damn it.
You can have it. Capdown and Random Hand. I'm in. Capdown
and Random Hand. Yeah. So my headliner, I will give you a clue towards.
Yes, please, because I do not have a clue, judging from this.
We've not had an American yet. We're not had a North American yet, have we?
We've not had a North American yet, have we?
Are they Canadian by any chance?
So I had myself in a bit of a muddle with my headliner and my cover band, because I had 2 headliners in mind, but then I could also think of bands who could cover them, right? So of those 2 headliners, I was like, okay, well, and then the other one, I want to be a covers set. So I was like, right, which way round should I do it? So if you're going to guess the headliner, I would say that there are 2 potential bands that you could guess, but the other one might be the cover band. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense. Paul, who are you going to suggest?
I'm going straight in there with Propagandy.
Oh, really? No. I'm surprised. No,
I can't remember if you.
I'm
really
not Tree.
or not. Yeah, maybe I'm getting you confused with Tree. It's probably the height.
Easy mistake to make.
We're so far up north. I'm that tall now, am I?
For some reason, I'm assuming it's some kind of like tech punk for you.
I do really like Propagandy, but they would not be my fantasy headliner, I don't think.
Oh, fantasy headliner. Oh, who could it be? Who does Sarah like? I'm assuming not Wilhelm Scream, because we've already spoke about them.
Well, is it Wilhelm Scream covering someone else as the after party?
Let's leave that for a moment.
Oh. All right.
Okay, I don't think you're going to get it, so I feel I should. I don't know. Do you want longer?
No,
you got clues.
Yeah,
hark back to our text messages earlier.
Oh God.
Oh, Polar Bear Club.
Polar Bear Club.
Yeah.
Polar Bear Club.
That would be good. If Jimmy's voice would get back to what it was.
I think I learned that you liked them on your Desert Island Punks podcast with Jake. You spoke about them at great length.
Yes, I did. I love Polar Bear Club, and I've never been able to see them live because their singer's vocal kind of broke down before I was aware of them, basically. And yeah, they haven't performed live for a really long time because, well, from my understanding, because of his voice, and that he just can't do it anymore. But I did hear some other rumours around that as well, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. But yeah, my absolute fantasy headliner would be getting to see fucking Polar Bear Club. That would be incredible.
So you've gone the same as me, like a band that you've never seen.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I absolutely want. I nearly put like Shames on the lineup as well because they were not for headliner, but because they're a Japanese band who are meant to be playing MPF this year, and I desperately want to see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all got scrapped. So, oh yeah, I was meant to be driving them, wasn't I? I forgot. But yeah, so for my cover band, so you mentioned a Wilhelm scream. It's not that, well, my logical route was that I could either have Polar Bear Club headlining and then have something Wilhelm related afterwards, or I could have a Wilhelm scream headline and then have someone covering Polar Bear Club, which I would want Burnt Tapes to do.
I was thinking that. They're big fans as well, aren't they? So
that's it. So I was thinking, if we can't get Polar Bear Club and the man's voice sorted, then maybe we could do Wilhelm Scream headline and then Burnt Tapes doing Polar Bear Club. But instead, I went with Polar Bear Club headline and not a Wilhelm Scream, Darko covering a Wilhelm Scream. Yeah. That's how we do it.
That is Williams as fuck, that is.
Yeah.
That is. Hey, it's my fucking fantasy festival. I will have my fantasy. I don't care if you guys want to come.
Do you remember though when at New Cross when On the Scream got what's his name from Ships Down to
Yeah. That was amazing.
That was one of the best moments.
Yeah. And
yeah, what a great day.
when On the Scream just like smashing the daiquiris on stage.
Yeah.
That was a fun show. I wish I remembered more of it. But it was
I barely remember it. But I'd just seen them, 4 times in a row.
Yeah, you went on your little tour with Tree, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I went to another one afterwards as well that Tree didn't make it to. I went to work and then went to go see them again at Stafford after work.
You stayed at mine, didn't you? And Tree got in and just flopped on my sofa and passed out. My
memory of that day was Tree from probably about 2:00 in the afternoon just going to me, Sarah, is it home time yet?
Yeah.
Can we go home yet?
I swear that's the first time that I met him as well. And I was like, who's this movie bastard?
Oh, wow.
Might have been.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, you mentioned the...
maybe not, but I don't know.
Signature brew thing. Like the recent signature brew. I didn't come to that this year because of how I ended up at the year before.
Yeah.
Where I had intended to go back to Manchester and I woke up in your flat.
Yeah.
With Trey.
Oh yeah, because we went from Signature Brew.
We went to go see
Pew Pew Pew. It was
Pew Pew Pew
that night with Eat the Feet.
Oh, I forgot about that. And then we went for breakfast with them.
We did, and then the next night we saw Infested in Lewisham.
Yeah, at the
and we was very, very annoyed that their stage time was something insane like 1 a.m. And
it was 1 a.m. and I was wearing a short sequin dress
that you borrowed from Leo. Yeah,
pink sequin dress. Yeah. It was
a
strange evening. It was a good weekend. Yeah, from what I can remember. But yeah, so that's my fantasy festival. So Star Snack, Folly of Dreams, Nosebleed, Press Club, Random Hand, Not on Tour, Cap Down, Polar Bear Club, and Darko covering a Wilhelm Scream.
That sounds like a lovely day. I will.
If that was MPF and it sounds like it could be MPF, then I would go to.
I think.
Take it for yourself. Shout Louder Fest.
I'm wondering how much tickets would cost to try and break even for that gig.
Yes.
I've got nothing.
It probably wouldn't be worth it.
No, I think it would. If they're all bands you love, it'd be worth it.
No, yeah, it's not an option. I'm afraid you'd need a 800 cap, I reckon.
Yeah, very true.
All right.
So right, so now we've got our shortlist for Do It Together Fest 2.
We're having a 3-day festival.
I'll send some emails while all the agents are out of office, so they get back to them in the new year, and we'll see what happens.
That's a great plan. If you can get Polar Bear Club for me, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, December might be an issue.
I know that they're Destiny, aren't they? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I just want to meet.
You know what? If you got me Cap Down, I'd be happy.
Well, that's Ian Armstrong, and he doesn't take holiday, so yeah, I'll shoot him a text and be like, I ask him at least once a year, Cap Down, and he's like, nah.
Cap down, please.
Too ill, weren't they?
Well, I think we should do another Do It Together Fest when we're allowed to do such things.
Yeah,
I mean, originally, when we finished the last one, we were talking about doing one this year, weren't we? But
yeah, I think I sent you my shortlist of bands like on the Monday.
we exchanged a shortlist. Each of us picked out our bands for Do It Together Fest 2 within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we'd already got them together.
We're still all on the high of it actually going well and everyone loving it and
raising loads of money for charity.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we didn't start booking it because that'd just be another thing to cancel.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Still,
I think that's
vaguely high spirits.
It'll be fine, Paul.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Everyone's going to follow the rules and wear masks and act responsibly and not be dickheads, and it'll be lovely.
Yes, I'm sure you've got plenty of that as a supermarket employee.
Yeah. I had the one come in the other day, and we have a lady on the door who's like says, "Could you wash your hands?" and like pours washing hands stuff, whatever it's called. I should know this by now. I've been doing it for a year. That's the one. And this lady sort of says, "Why?" Yeah, this is why I couldn't go see my family at Christmas.
People are awful.
We got quite a passive aggressive set reply from New Cross Inn, where it's like I think we say something along the lines of, in case you weren't aware, there's a pandemic on, so ... whatever the answer is. So like, be patient, stop it, shut up, kind of thing.
Leave us alone, please. Thank you.
It's amazing in the worst possible way, but
big up the bands that are still hustling for gigs. Like, you know, it's normal.
Do you know what? I got 7 different bands send me releases on Christmas Day.
There you go.
I know. Everyone's been really active.
Yeah, like
I would immediately just say no to all of them just because it's Christmas Day.
But then I thought, well, I suppose they're kind of timing it with the Queen's speech and stuff like that, and I suppose I can understand it. But please don't send me things on Christmas Day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing you both when we're allowed to do that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yes. Imagine it'll be so much fun.
I can't wait. I have not seen any of my friends since March now.
Yep.
So, because
I've done pretty well, but also now London's in the state it's in is because we were misled.
Yeah.
By the government quite severely because of the economy, I believe. Open all the pubs. Yeah, let's go out and get because we're allowed.
Yeah, whereas in Manchester they don't care about us, so they've
so just locks you down.
Anyway. Yeah, we've not been out in a very long time.
What a mess.
What a mess. Right, shall we try and end on a positive note?
Yeah, see you at Do It Together Fest 2 in 2023.
Yeah, Do It Together Fest 2.
I'll send 3 emails this time. Right, thank you very much for joining me on this. It's been bloody lovely to talk to you both because we don't get to talk to see each other very much anymore, and so this has been a very lovely way to spend an afternoon.
Well, thanks for having us as well.
Yes,
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, obviously going by Papercuts Two because that's the reason we organised doing this. So.
No, it's because we like each other and we want to talk to each other.
That as well.
I swear.
Papercuts 2 was the thing that sort of lit the match and made us actually do something there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having us.
You're very welcome. I'm really rubbish at ending these.
Your closing statements.
Yeah, still not worked.
Shall I just shout, "I'll see you down the front"?
Yeah.
That's my sign off. I'll see you down the front.
See you in the pit.
Because the world is broken. Wow. Thanks for listening. Check out CPRW Records. We've got a new comp coming out on the 22nd of January, and it's Hidden Gems 2. And there'll be more details posted about that at some point. Emma's going to do some more fantastic artwork like she always does, and we've got 20 odd bands already who are all fantastic and deserve your attention. I'm sure Paul has some gigs that he's had to postpone and reschedule, and they'll be all on the B Sharp page.
They will.
If you're looking at this on YouTube, you're just seeing a face of pure just fed up of the thought of rescheduling more gigs.
It's been a long year.
It's been a hard year.
As soon as we're allowed, though, there will be something fun to do the second that we can do so safely and legally.
Please, because this is
organised fun.
Fun, right? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, check out Shout Louder. She's got a podcast. Oh, Sarah's got a podcast. Shout Louder's not your name. Sarah's your name. Yeah, check out Sarah's website. She does a podcast. She does really great columns. Obviously, Papercuts Two. What else do you do, Sarah?
Thank
I feel
you.
like you do more than that. You're always busy.
I don't know. Podcast, book, website, Instagram. Shout-louder.com. Go there and it will have things. Yeah.
It's great stuff. Okay. Thanks for listening. I hope you're all safe and well. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.